be a small group, so feel free to jump in as you have questions. We won't. You can mute yourself when we're not when you're not talking, but otherwise, feel free to ask questions. And I would love for you to introduce yourselves if you would like. Like I said, it is a small group. Andrew Van is on the chamber staff. He's running he does the back end technical stuff for us. So. How about we start with Christy?
Hi, I'm Christy with 84 Lumber, and I just want to learn more about being able to contribute to the community. It's kind of a new program for 84 in this area, so I'm looking forward to meeting everyone and getting plugged in.
Awesome. We're glad you're here. Johnny.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Johnny Lynn. Been a long time.
You too. I'm Johnny Lynn Crosby with SC Works Greater Upstate, and we participated last year in this program and found it exciting and something new, and just happy to be a partner work site and anxious to do something again this year.
Great. Erica?
Hi, sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
I'm Erica Huffman with 10 at the Top, and we have had interns before, and we're looking to have more. So yeah, I'm just here to get information on behalf of the team, and I apologize for no camera, but I'm working from home today. And
oh no, you're fine.
A little chaotic. So
and again, had we had a big group, we might not have been quite as interactive, but we got a small group today, so that's quite all right. And then Lori. Hey, Lori. Can't hear you.
There you go.
Okay, there we go.
Bree Hoyer. I am a work-based learning coordinator at Emory Career Center. So I'm one of 4 that work with companies and connecting you with students.
So Lori will be able to answer any questions you have on the school side of things. But what I'm going to do today, some of you, as you have said, have participated in the past, and then we have Christy along with us who is new, and then the potential of utilizing this video, assuming that it goes well, we can put it live, and or we can have it as a recording, and others can view it as well. And if it doesn't, well, I'll do it again, and we'll do it then. So I'm going to go through the program a little bit, and like I said, please feel free to jump in. I'm going to utilize our website sort of as my background rather than a PowerPoint, because so much of the information is there, and I want you to become familiar and comfortable with that. Those of you who've worked with us previously, the website has changed. We've made some additions. It's wonderful. The unfortunate thing is we haven't really had a chance to test drive it a whole lot yet, because we revamped it in April and May. And of course, we've been in the midst of our pandemic. And so we're looking forward to really getting feedback and continuing to improve that. And we're also working on process improvement on the school district side. And so we're really excited about where LaunchGVL is and where LaunchGVL is going. And I did not introduce myself, so I probably should do that. My name is Cheryl Garrison, and I am the Director of Talent and Workforce Solutions here at the Chamber. So anything related to workforce development, talent development, talent recruitment, retention for our area, as well as working to remove barriers for employment. So kind of high level in terms of what we work on here at the Chamber, but LaunchGVL is one of those things that is boots on the ground, and we love it because we get to have students engage with our companies and creating that pipeline earlier. So let me share my screen. And if you have, like I said, if you have any questions, please just jump in. All right, can everyone see the screen? You see the LaunchGVL site? Okay, I think I see some heads nodding. Okay, so this is our LaunchGVL website, and it is launchgvl.org. You can type in LaunchGVL. LaunchGVL is short for LaunchGVL. And LaunchGVL, the goal of LaunchGVL, which started a little over 2 years ago, was to attract and retain a skilled workforce. It is one of the #1 challenges facing employers in our area, especially pre-COVID, but it's going to continue to be that way. That COVID is not going to change that. I don't think it may alter what it looks like, but we still are going to need that skilled workforce. So the Greenville Chamber and Greenville County Schools partnered to create an internship program connecting juniors and seniors with paid work-based learning experiences. And I say paid because that is a very important part of this program. So many students in Greenville County are living below the poverty level. They have to work. And so we want to make sure that students are able to connect with business and industry for paid opportunities so that they're not having to necessarily make a choice between that work-based learning experience or a part-time job that they have to have. We want them to be able to make that choice. I'm sorry, there is a truck going by. If you hear a loud noise, that's what you're hearing in the background. So the website is very important. It is a critical piece of the process for Launch Greenville. I am going to start at the main page. And we are also in the process of adding additional information, but just some of the things I want to highlight for you. The students work on their career development through middle school and high school. They are exploring careers, what they're interested in. And so we have 6 career pathways that are listed here. And if you actually click on these pathways, it takes you to a page that shows you additional information about these career pathways. And we do ask that as you create position descriptions, you sort of look through these and list the ones that make sense for your position. There can be multiple ones for a position, and I'll show you that in a few minutes. But then you can also see courses that are offered by Greenville County Schools that students may have had the opportunity to take. And so we're really excited to have this type of information here, both for employers to look at, parents, and students. So those are the 6 pathways. This is just an overview about Launch Greenville. A lot of what I just talked about. One of the huge benefits of Launch Greenville is having your company's logo on our site, getting recognition for being a part of this program. There are no losses when it comes to work-based learning. It is a win-win-win. It is a win for the students to get that experience. It is a win for businesses to be able to make those connections with students early. Your workforce is in high school right now. And so being able to connect with them, mentor them, help them understand what opportunities there are. So many students are limited by what they know and what they don't know. And so getting them into the community in different business and industry help them to see opportunities that they never knew existed. So I'm going to go to for business first, because this is where you would go to create a position description. And like I said, don't do that to me. Those of you who have done this previously, your positions are in here. We can change or edit those, but when we created the new site, it did not, I loaded those positions in, and of course it wouldn't work for me this morning, y'all. All right, let's try something different. I'll show you a position. So here are the positions. Let's see. Let me find one of you that's on the site. I think we have one. Maybe not. Maybe those were for fall. I think 10 at the top and Johnny Lynn, it just left me. SC Works both had students in the fall, which continued into the spring. So y'all were not listed. Let me show you Anyone Home. It was one that started last spring. And fortunately for Anyone Home, they were actually able to get students started pre-COVID, and the students were able to work remotely. Just with the type of work that they do, it ended up being an opportunity for students to work from their home. They were able to make good money. And there were also some opportunities for some of our Hispanic speaking students. So there's a lot of variety in terms of the types of companies that we have participate. But as you can see, this is the first thing that the students would see. And you can tell the career clusters that we talked about earlier are listed here on the side. And this information, there's a couple of items that I want to add to this information as we're continuing to have to modify and change the way that we are doing things. Previously, we used to have interview days where we would invite the companies to come to CMI, the Greenville Tech campus, and would interview students all at one time. That obviously is not a good choice now, and that is not something that we will be doing in the future. And so we are going to add a little bit of information, but this will look more like a typical job description that you would post on Indeed. You would add to this the time period that you would be recruiting for, and then you would schedule interviews with students. But we'll get into that in a moment. But we have had to change our processes a little bit just to adapt. That's the word of the year, adapt. So here you can see anyone home's position description. And when my business page loads that I was trying to show you, you would be able to see that the application has all of this information in it, and you would create this position description. You can put as much or as little detail as you would like. However, the more detail that you put, the better information it gives the students and the work-based learning coordinators in terms of being able to understand the position. Lori, would you like to say anything about that?
There we go. Got to unmute myself. If you hear bells and stuff, we're unloading and reloading students on the buses. So I apologize for that. This is fabulous information. It hasn't always been like this. So the website didn't always look this clear with this amount of detail. And this is very helpful for students and us alike, because there's going to be some students, anyone home is an incredibly flexible schedule, as you can see from looking at the hours. A student can look at that and say, oh, between 8 a.m. and 10 p.m., I have plenty, I can work those hours. If a company is a normal 9 to 5 type of day, there's a lot of students that may not be able to commit to those hours. Maybe they get out of school at 3:30. And so that's not going to give enough hours. If they're seniors, they have a little bit more flexibility in their schedule, and those would be the students that would probably apply for those positions. So the more information that you can give us to relay to those students and to help sell your opportunity to those students, because it's a sales on both sides. Students need to know exactly what it is that they're applying for, and they get very excited. The life-changing opportunities that these companies are providing for students is amazing, and so we're very grateful.
Thank you, Lori. Lori had no idea I was going to call on her, but
That's fine.
she's fabulous, and this is what she does. The work-based learning coordinators are fantastic, and we have a great partnership with them. So this is another example, and I bring this one up for one reason, and that is to talk about the fact that First Steps actually was able to take their internship and make it more of a virtual internship. So we hope that the students can come on site and work with you in what we would consider traditional work. But I also would have you consider the fact that students can work remotely. If you have a project that students could work on, and maybe you think about what is it that I've been trying to get done that I haven't been able to get done. These students have amazing skills and abilities, and they have learned to work remotely because they've had to do school remotely. So there are, in fact, the Chamber intends to hire an intern And we may not do it in a traditional way. And what I mean by that is we may not have them come in 10 hours a week. We may hire them for a set amount of time and have them work on projects as we have need for that. And so think creatively and think outside the box as you are looking. Again, students are also anxious and available to do what we would consider more traditional style work, where they're coming in on a daily basis or every other day, whatever makes sense for your company. So the one thing about Launch Greenville is it is very flexible. It is not a one size fits all. It is a one size fits whatever you need it to. We will help you with that. So let's see if my business page will load. Y'all, it was working last night and it just stopped. So I'll figure out what's going on with that. But I wanted to show you that I tell you what, let me close down. I may reload it and try it again in a moment. But when you go in to register your business, it's going to take you to a page that is on the chamber site, and you're going to fill out some information. That is going to come to me, and then I'm going to approve you to go ahead and create a position description. So basically you're creating an account with some information that gives me enough information to know, okay, yes, I understand what you're trying to accomplish here. And then you will get another email, an automated email that will tell you to go ahead and create that account. So it is a two-step process. But it allows you then to be able to go back into that system and edit your positions as needed. If for some reason you're looking at hiring for a couple of different positions, for example, with Anyone Home, they had a bilingual and then just a regular recruiter. I can't remember. I think it was a recruiter, but wasn't the title. But those are listed as two separate positions. So if someone is hiring a welder and a machine tech student, we would want two different positions, just as you would if you were putting those positions out for full-time folks. So that is very helpful for us as we look at those positions. Are there any questions so far? I see Christy shaking her head no. Everybody else is good. I can't see Erica. So I'm assuming y'all are good. So the way that I will talk just a little bit more about the actual process. So once you have expressed an interest, if you have questions, you're welcome to call me or email me and we can talk through those. If you have questions for the school side, I can connect you with the right person there as well. But then once you're ready, you do go to that business tab, you create that, you create your account, and then you create the position description. And again, you do need to give us some indication, and this is something you can email to me right now, but of when you would like to do that recruitment period. So for example, we have a company who's planning to recruit starting in January. I know that because that's when they told me they need their person. If you're ready to do it now, we can set up a period of time that makes sense for that. But since we are no longer doing those interview days, we've got to be a little more strategic about how we communicate the recruitment period to the students. And then the students have opportunity to create a resume. A lot of the students already have a resume, but it may need to be tweaked. The work-based learning coordinators do an amazing job of working with the students, helping them with interview skills. In the past, we have had some external folks come in to do mock interviews and interview skills with the students. I'm not sure where we are on that right now. That may be a little different, but they will still be getting some of that knowledge in terms of how to present themselves, how to dress, how to interview appropriately, and then also how to work, how to behave on the job. So even if a student isn't hired, let's say you bring 6 students in and interview them and only one is hired. those students are still getting a tremendous amount of knowledge from the time they start this application process through that interview. And those students are very appreciative of that. So don't look at it as a negative, always look at it as a positive, that even if you can't hire the students, then they're still getting a lot out of it. However, if you happen to decide that you need 2 students instead of 1, we can make that work too. So however you need it to work. I mentioned the students, they actually fill out an application as well to express interest in LaunchGVL. So they've, on their end, I've talked about what the business does, but on the student end, they have to fill out a fair amount of information here. And then this goes to the work-based learning coordinators, and they follow up with the students, who then the work-based learning coordinators would submit resumes to you, and you would then get to choose who makes sense in terms of interviewing. Now, you can interview virtually, or you may want to do some screening virtually, or you can bring them in and interview them in person. Of course, I think that's always the best way, especially if they're going to be working in a traditional sense in your office or in your facility. The other thing that happens on the back side that you don't get to see, the magic that happens, is that the work-based learning coordinators also take a look at these students. They look at their individual graduation plan to see what those students are interested in. They look at their grades, their attendance. If there may be any barriers, they take a look at whether the students may need some help with transportation, or maybe they need some interview clothing. We actually have some funds available here at the Chamber for LaunchGVL through our foundation to help to be able to take care of some of those things. So there's multiple ways that companies can become involved in LaunchGVL. Just hiring a student is probably the highest end way to do that. But we also have companies who contribute to the foundation to be able to help make this process happen. So there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. We had some students to get hired this summer in our non-traditional way, in terms of and it was non-traditional for us. It was actually more traditional in terms of how hiring takes place, but the students were able to apply. Lori actually, I think, was the work-based learning coordinator who worked with them and vetted those students, and then sent the resumes, and the company interviewed the students on site and hired a student, and they worked all summer, and it was an awesome fit. Lori, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I'll just say that student is still working. They've completed their internship and are now continuing as a part-time worker. It was a fabulous fit. She would have loved to have hired all 3 students that she interviewed, but the one that she picked turned out to be just a great employee for her. And this is a goal of a lot of the companies. They want to participate in the internship, but there's not a limit to the amount of time that they can keep a student. So if it's a great fit for both you and the student, then it's something that can continue on indefinitely.
Thank you. And so from we would like to have the students work a minimum of 40 hours in the experience. Christy, did you have a question?
I do, actually.
Awesome.
So just a question I'm going to throw out here. So working in the construction industry for 20 years, I've been in sales, and the environment that I've been in hasn't always been the prettiest, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Being a female specifically. Is that a concern for these students? Are there certain criteria? Because obviously we don't have control over all the salesmen, what they say and how they say it, that kind of thing. And obviously I think, you know, I love to recruit women in the business because we're smart, we're detailed, we know what we're doing. And they're just kind of opening the door to that. However, I do have to be choosy as to which women I do try to help. If you can't let things roll off, that it's not the job for you, you know, kind of thing. So I was just wondering, is that high on the priority list? Like the conversations that happen in the lumberyard are a lot different than the conversations that happen in my corporate office.
So I would say, and Laura, you feel free to jump in here. This is what I would say to that. I've worked with both high school students and college age students and adults. And I would say that a lot of students have probably heard more than we can possibly imagine.
Right.
However, we do want to make sure that it is as positive an experience as possible.
Right.
We also understand that this is a real world experience.
It is. It would definitely be a real world experience at our location.
Yes. So, so I think there's a balance, Christy,
Right.
that has to be met. And so we don't want to put students in a position where they are feeling that where they would feel uncomfortable or where they may feel intimidated or you know, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And with women in trades, it definitely is something that we are fully focused on. We want more women and minorities in trades and you're right. They sort of have to have an understanding of what that expectation is.
Right.
Each environment is different, right? And so I think that having this type of conversation where the work-based learning coordinators can understand what they're helping the student prep for, and then also just knowing the students. So we have a lot of students who are in career and technology education programs that are a little more, have already been exposed to some of the, at least the type of work, and would have probably a greater understanding and appreciation of the type of work that they would be looking at.
Right.
Do you have something that you would like to add?
Sure. So I just got through having a male and a female student, building construction students, interview yesterday. So I took them out and they did a fabulous job. It was with a company that is a local company. And I think that there is a lot of value, and you know this being in the industry, of having a female in the mix, because there's a different perspective. And so you're right in finding the right person. Typically, if they're in building construction, or I have a student that has done fabulous work in machine tool, if you have those type of women, they're usually strong. They're strong female employees. So I think that would probably be a good target for you if you're looking for the right fit. And then I would also make sure that you talk about that in the interview. Like that way, if they're sensitive to things and they can't let things roll off, that they internalize a lot, that's brought up in the beginning and you can avoid any problems.
Right. Okay. That's great. Great.
Yeah, I would say, you know, with the number of students that we have, there's a wide variety.
Yes.
And they come from
there's a wide variety of personalities, right? Everywhere.
Exactly. And you know, not all students are looking to work in an office at all. And they don't want that. So it's a matter of it's about fit, right? That's what it boils down to. And so we're very cognizant of that. And Lori is excellent at doing that, as are all of the work-based learning coordinators, and also getting to know the students well enough to know, okay, this is probably a good idea, or maybe you need to look elsewhere.
Right. Good.
So the other thing that that was kind of a great segue into one other piece. I was going to show you a couple of other pieces of the website, and then I'm going to close it off. But there are FAQs, so you can scroll through those, click on those, and just get some basic answers to some questions if you would like. And then at the experience portion, we actually have videos of students who have previously participated in LaunchGVL, and if it doesn't jerk a tear, it'll at least make you smile. So they're heartwarming videos. And I got to figure out why my business page isn't working, but I'll get back to that later. And I'm going to stop sharing for just a second. So one of the other a couple of things that I wanted to mention is those CTE programs. So I'm going to share with you our newsletter that just went out recently. Some of you may have received this and some of you may have not received it. But what I want to show you is this portion here. So these are work-based learning these are the career and technology education students that are seeking work-based learning for this school year. Now, these are all of the programs that are housed at the career centers. There are also some other programs that are housed within the regular high schools, correct, Lori? In addition to these. So, but these are the career and technology education programs that are at the 4 career centers. And if you just take a look at some of these numbers, there are 45 students that are looking for welding positions. So, you know, when you work in a construction field or you hear about, we need welders, we need welders, we need welders, well, they're here. And I mentioned welding just because it is one of those that is such a challenge. It's one of those things where you really need a certain amount of skill before a company says, yes, we will hire you. But it's also one of those places that I think companies miss out on bringing in a young student or a younger, less experienced student to help them get to where they need to go. But we have mechatronics, machine tool, law enforcement, HVAC, graphics, firefighting, aesthetics, digital communications. You talk about the opportunity to have a student work on a project remotely. The students that are in digital communications or graphics, they have amazing skills. We have 30 building construction students that are looking for opportunities. So all of these students, and Lori, feel free to jump in here, but all of these students are in the process of completing or will have completed their program of study for career and technology education. And as a capstone, they are looking for that work-based learning experience or co-op experience. And a lot of these students have time during their school day to actually work as well. Is that fairly?
That is correct. So our programs are 2-year programs. So we have level 1 students, those are first-year students, and then we have level 2 students, and those students are, you know, completing the program. That's their second year. We also, in some of our career centers, have third-year students, and we are developing those. Some career centers have more than others, but I'm continuing to grow that here at Emory. And what those third-year students have to offer is they have completed their 2-year program, and now they are wanting to work. So they want to get that field experience, and so they are able to go to work instead of coming to class. So in the time that they would typically be at Emory Career Center, it's a course, they are having real world experiences and they're being graded on that. So it's a course for them. It is a capstone course, as what Cheryl was saying. So it's extremely important for them to have that experience. So many of these students, that's what they want to do. I mean, they want to do machining or they want to do welding. That's their goal in life. And if you can capture that talent at a high school, then you're going to be able to mold those students. You'll be able to see what is a good fit before you invest as a company in a full-time employee.
One other area, a couple of other things just to note. So we've talked about our sort of regular students and our career and technology education students. We're also focused on helping students who may be disengaged, those students who are maybe not the cream of the crop, maybe who life has already hit them hard. And those students need these opportunities probably more so than some of our other students. And they are also often very thankful for that chance. and are hard workers. It just may be that school's not their thing, but they are, you know, they can get connected with work and understand why then education is so important. So as you look at the future for yourself with Launch Greenville, please know that there is a wide variety of students that we can tap into. And there's a lot of students that want to go to work straight out of high school. There are a lot of students who would like to continue their education through getting certificates and credentials or an associate degree. Or maybe it's a bachelor's degree, but you can continue that relationship with that student, even if it's in a mentoring role. And we've even had some students who've come back to companies and worked in the summer when they're going to college. We've had some students who go on to work full-time for a company and they send them to Greenville Tech to pursue their associate's degree at the same time. So there's all, again, one size does not fit all. There are multiple things. And then another group of students that we are working to tap into, and we're just literally putting our toe in the water with this, are our alternative education seeking students. So within Greenville County, there are at any given time about 200 students who are seeking a different way to get their diploma or GED. So there are students that are housed at all of the career centers that are doing alternative diploma. And then there are also, and some of them are doing career and technology education at the same time. And then there are, you know, anywhere from 17 to 60-year-olds that are pursuing their GED or their diploma. So there is a wide range of students that, that can be tapped through Launch Greenville. The other thing that I feel like I need to touch on very, very quickly is what we're doing in relationship to COVID. So if for some reason, let's talk about the worst case scenario and then we'll talk about best case scenario. Worst case scenario is that the schools are no longer meeting in person at all. Then it becomes more challenging to bring in a student into a work-based learning experience. If a student is already in a work-based learning experience, those are going to be handled on a case-by-case basis. As of right now, we're in this yellow block. So right now, students are coming still 1 day a week, Lori, or two? Two? Okay.
Yes, 2 days a week.
Okay.
And they're getting ready. Our Career Center students are getting ready to come 4 days a week.
Yay.
So that starts next week. So
Awesome.
we're piloting and leading the way in the career centers.
Mm-hmm.
And they house, our career centers, as Cheryl had mentioned, house all the different programs that she had shown on a previous slide. So that'll start next week.
Awesome. So what the stipulations are, when students are not in school full-time face-to-face, there is a waiver basically that is signed by the student, by the parent, and by the company that just say that you're taking precautions, that the student, you know, that you're wearing masks or you're doing social distancing or whatever makes sense for your particular business and industry. And it's just a one-page, very easy, quick waiver. If the students happen to go back to school every day, full-time, then there's no waiver necessary. It's just business as usual. So just to give you an idea of where we are with that. And then again, as I mentioned, think about a virtual internship if that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense for your company, please consider bringing those students in and having them work in a more traditional way. Are there other questions, comments? There's a couple of other little pieces I'd like to share with you before we wrap up. I don't see any questions. Oh, Christy's coming back. Well, feel free to jump in with any questions that you have. We are excited that we have companies back kind of in the saddle ready to hire students. And we had a spring planned that was fabulous. We had the most students hired in the spring that we've ever had in the past. And of course, I think within a week, the world sort of shifted and things did not go as planned there. But we're ready to engage fully with LaunchGVL and with students being involved with our companies. And we would ask that, you know, if you can hire a student or 2 or 4, please do. If you can't, tell others about the program. Let them know what the program is about, and direct them to the website, direct them to us, spread the word. And if you just have the opportunity even to mentor a student, that's going to be beneficial as well. Any questions, comments? Lori, anything that I might have missed?
No, just thank you for your partnership. We appreciate everything that companies do on behalf of the students and preparing them for a real world experience, real world work. This is incredibly important. We have a lot of companies in the area that complain about employability skills and the lack thereof, and this is a great way for those students to be prepared for the real world, and for you to also gain talent that you may not have previously.
The school district, if a student is doing work-based learning, there is liability insurance that the school district carries on those students. I have a copy of that if you need to see that, if you need any information about hiring students under the age of 18. There are very clear guidelines from the Department of Labor, and it is a very broad opportunity to do that. It is not narrow at all in terms of what is allowed. And then the other thing is, when COVID goes away, we typically have a end of year celebration where we invite all of our companies, our students, their parents, the Greenville County School folks, the chamber folks, and it is just an amazing opportunity for everyone to celebrate, to meet, to mingle, and to get to know one another. And we missed it this spring, and I missed it a lot. I was looking forward to that, but we will have that again. And so that's another opportunity just to connect with students and their parents, but also to connect with other businesses and the folks within the school district. So please keep all of that in mind as you look towards making a decision. And if you have questions, you can reach out to me here at the chamber, and I will do everything in my power to answer them. If I don't know the answer, I'll find somebody who does. So I thank you all for attending. Any questions at all?
Hey, Cheryl, I just want to make sure on the chat box you saw that Johnny Lynn, when she jumped off earlier, she said she definitely wanted to participate again this year. So send her information, please. And I think Christy's, she's sort of listening to us. She's on a conference call right now, according to her message, but she's also interested in learning some more information for the area for 84 Lumber as well.
Great. So. Well, we will definitely follow up. Thank you, Andrew, for that. And I see that Seth and Eric are still on. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Yeah, no questions, but thank you so much for all the information. We'll be in touch soon.
Okay, and Erica, who are you with? Remind me.
10 at the top.
10 at the top, thank you. Okay.
Yeah, thanks so much. This is very informational, so excited about the opportunities.
Great. Well, please feel free to reach out or go ahead and go to the website and start that process of filling out the form that I could not get to load. I hope you all have a wonderful day. I thank you for taking the time to join us and look forward to working with you through LaunchGVL.